Welcome to another episode of my show, Irena, Hentea's Kitchen. I am so excited you could join me today, and I'm going to show you a couple of things that make dinner effortless. And we're going to start, first of all, with another thing that I had started at the last episode, which was a little bit of flower arranging. It's so nice to pick up some flowers and then make your own bouquet. So here we are. I picked up 3 simple flower bouquets, and this one is actually a mini petit bouquet, and we're gonna see. Last time I made just one bouquet in my lovely mason jar, which I love to use. This time we're gonna use this little vase, and it's actually a repurposed toothbrush holder. I really love that it's got the segments here. So here we go. I have some lovely double peony tulips, and as I am going to open it up, a couple of stems kind of broken up, and I wanted to show you that even if that happens, what you can do is you can set it aside, and I have a little bowl with water that we're going to use, and we're going to make a little cute centerpiece. All right. So I have my tulips here. I have some yellow ranunculus. So if the stems are in any way, like here, they're not super fresh, you always want to cut that. You don't want to introduce that, like right here. You don't want to introduce that into the flower arrangement. But here we are, and with the tulips, with flowers, you always want to do a couple of stems that are longer and then a couple that are smaller. So let's see, right here we have these that are, whoops, there we go, that just fell. Means that I should bring this over here for the workstation. All right, now let me see, and I've got some ranunculus here. I want to put it in here as well. I love this very bright yellow, so springy. And actually, we are in the season, just about to get daffodils. So right here, this flower, again, this stem doesn't quite make it. So I'm going to use it. I'm going to start putting it right in here. And I have these that unfortunately broke off, but that's okay. You get to make something a little more creative right here that normally you wouldn't have even thought of it. So all right, so we've got that. Let's see what else we have. We have a few more of these tulips, and let's get a couple of tulips that are shorter as well. So let's do 2 right here, match it over here, and over on this side. All right, how is this shaping up? All right, it's pretty good. And let's see this. I think these are a little long, so we'll leave them sort of in the center. And it's really fun. You get some flowers and you can have some creative time, and you make it your own. Of course, there's some great florists around, so it's always really nice to support our local florists. But this time here, all right, so this is okay. All right, so it looks to me that I should do a couple of shorter ranunculus. Okay, so here we go. And there we go. So that's really, really nice, you see. And here we go with another short one. You kind of want to do it all around. All right, this is perfect. And let's do this one here. All right, now I have this other bouquet that I picked up. Kind of doesn't need, these 2 with the yellow and white are really nice. Let me see if I want to combine anything. I really love these small bouquets. This is from Trader Joe's. It's their petite bouquets. They're only $4.99 currently. And what's nice is that you get a couple of different other kind of flowers. And look at this, how gorgeous is that? However, it's a short stem, so I'm gonna wanna use it right on the outside to make sure. So it looks like I need a little more water maybe, but I think that might make it very good. Let's see, how is that? And then I've got some really pretty carnations. One's just a little open. This one will open. No worries about that. So here we go. Let's see. We want to put this right over here. I'm going to do the 3. Should I do 3 like that? No, I'm going to do 2 like that. This, I'm going to do this one here. Actually, I'm going to cut this a little shorter. So you just want to experiment at times and just see, create sort of the different feel to that. Now, I have this rose, and with roses, you always want to cut underwater. So I'm going to go get a bowl, put it in the sink, and cut this underwater. So the other flowers, I cut them and I just did them like that. But this one, you're going to want to do that. And this is some status. This actually dries beautifully. I'm going to keep it out. I actually just like the mix that I have currently, and I don't think I'm going to use it in there, or I might just add it to this, but I kind of like the tones, just the sort of like that. So there you go. I'll be right back. I'm going to get the rose cut underwater and then add it over here. All right, so I did cut my rose in a bowl, so you cut it underneath the water when you do it. Now, as I'm looking at this, I feel like it needs a little bit of extra green in here. So I'm gonna add this, which is actually from the tulips, from some of the stems that broke off. And this just adds a little bit of greenery, and there you go. And all of a sudden, out of 3 little bouquets, you've got 3 amazing arrangements that you can make to your own liking whenever you want. All right, so now we are getting ready to make an amazing meal. Again, it's gonna be effortless, it's gonna be fun, and it's gonna be healthy. So I have these amazing mushrooms that I got at the Harvard General Store. They're from Fat Moon Farm in Westford, so very local. And we're gonna use the mushrooms both in the salad and in the side dish. And we're going to do a salad with lettuce from Johnny Pot Farm in Littleton. Also, you can find the salad at the Harvard General Store in Harvard. And the mushrooms, which as I mentioned, I got them at the Harvard General Store. And what I'm gonna do with the mushrooms, we're gonna cut them and have them raw with the salad. And we're also gonna mix it up with some cabbage that I'm gonna roast. Now, the other thing that I'm gonna make today is a ground beef that I make at home with garlic. It's really easy, it's so simple, very easy ingredients, super easy to make. And we're gonna do that as the main meat. The sides is gonna be the cabbage with mushrooms, and then we're gonna have the salad with mushrooms, but not sauteed, but raw. So that's it. The salad is from Johnny Pot Farm, as I mentioned. I love that it includes a variety of different things in it, and even has some edible flowers. And look, we actually have a great selection of pansies. Oh my goodness, how awesome is that? And there's a couple of things here. I believe some of these are radishes. So anyway, we've got that, and we've got cabbage that we're going to cut and going to bake. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and start. And the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to take the cabbage and I'm gonna start it in the oven. I have it at 350 on the convection setting, but you can have it on the bake setting. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to add a little bit of oil to my pan right here. Not a lot. You just want to add just a little bit of oil to it. You're adding a bit of oil and then cut the cabbage. The easiest thing to do is to actually cut your cabbage in half, and it's a little bit of a challenge sometimes, but here we go. And then just cut portions this way. And this is a great side dish for anyone who's eating keto. My husband eats keto, so oftentimes I'm mindful of that, what I do as a side dish. And here we go. So now it's pretty easy. You want to break it up a little bit, and it'll come in various different sizes. Some of them are a bit long. But again, before you put it on your tray, you want to make sure you are opening these up so they can bake easily. I actually cut a little bit more than what I'm going to have here on this tray, but that's okay. You can do it a little bit later, or you can just you can just use it for the next day. So here we are. I'm finishing this up here, and you want to add a little bit more oil on top again. As you've seen, I love the sunflower oil, so I'll add a bit of that, just like that. And there we go. So this will go, actually, I think it needs a little more, few more right in here. So this gets pretty close to what I've cut, and this will go in the oven. Now, how long does it take in the oven? It varies because it varies on how much you end up putting in your pan. However, I think a good rule of thumb is generally about half an hour. So that's why you want to get this started right away as you start your dinner. So I'm going to take this over to the oven. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do the mushrooms. So we're going to use the mushrooms this time both in the salad, and in the salad it's going to be raw and also sauteed, and we're going to mix it up with the cabbage, and that's going to be our side. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and make the dressing. I'm going to make it in the bowl. It will be very simple. So what I want to do is I want to do 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar. I have this cider vinegar, which is local from Massachusetts. It's Carr's Cider House in Hadley. It's a little bit sweeter than what you might originally use, and I have as a comparison, if you can't get this one, you can easily use this Bragg's or whatever you find at the store. So I have again 1/4 cup of vinegar, and I'm going to use 1/4 cup of oil. I'm using sunflower oil. Sometimes I'll use olive oil in salad, but this time the reason I'm going to use it just the plain sunflower oil is I really want to keep the flavors of the mushrooms as strong as possible. And then I'm going to add a little bit of pepper to it, not much. You really don't need a whole lot. And I'm also going to add a bit of salt. So let's start out. I've got here lion's mane, I have oyster mushrooms, and I have some very small shiitake. And like I said, I want to divide them up, and I do have a little bit of salt that I'm going to add right over here. I'm using the Maldon salt. So I'm going to cut the mushrooms now, and for the ones that I'm using raw, you can just cut basically just like this. And I've got the dressing in here. I'm going to mix it up once I have all the mushrooms. This is going to absorb some of the dressing, so there's quite a little bit of it, and then we'll see how much the mushrooms absorb and may add a little bit later some more too. All right, so we've got these, and this one, obviously I don't want to keep them quite this big. This is a little too big for the salad, but this is nice. I can leave that maybe cut it halfway. So these right here, just cut them again. And you don't have to worry like how you're cutting it, you know, just make it through. It's totally fine. So I've got smaller here. And then I've got the lion's mane. I'm gonna cut this in half. So again, I'm gonna use half of the mushrooms for the side dish. Cut these. And the lion's mane is supposed to be quite beneficial for memory. And so this is wonderful that they're growing this. Now, mushrooms, when you find them at the Harvard General Store, they are so fresh and so wonderful. Obviously, a good rule of thumb is if you're gonna buy them, try and use them that same day or the next day. That way you really get the benefit of that. And I'm gonna use a touch-up of that. Not a lot, just a little bit for added flavor, so you can see in here. All right, so here we are with that. I'm gonna swirl it around. And this will sit, it's kind of almost like a marinade. And then when we add the, well, let me see. I might wanna add a little more dill. I'm seeing that once you mix it all up, you probably could use. So oftentimes what's really good is to try and see herbs and salt and pepper. All these are things that you want to add to your own taste and your own even health needs. Sometimes you may need less salt, so that's how you can do that. Now, the rest of this, I'm just going to turn it over my board right here, and I'm going to start on the mushrooms, and I'm just going to saute them. So it's going to be very simple, simply sauteed. And I'm going to start, this is an induction stove. All right, so I think I'm right here. I'm going to start it on high. I'm adding a little bit of oil. And here we go. You don't add a lot. You're not swimming. You're not having your mushrooms swim in there. So I'm going to cut these. Again, does not matter. And in this case, I'm going to add them all together to the pan. And they're going to be really great. Okay, almost there. I'm going to go ahead and toss these in already. You can hear them sizzle. And some of the portions are a little bit, when I'm cutting them, they're a little bit bigger. It adds interest. You don't want them all to be the same, and that makes it easier and more effortless to cook as well. No rules on that. All right, so here's the lion mane. And there we go. Now, you absolutely want to add some salt here. And I want to use this Aegean salt by Curio. Curio Spice Company is a small company, but mighty, right here in Massachusetts. So I'm adding this. I'm going to shake it up a little bit. All right, there we go. And it smells wonderful. So I'm good with the dill. I'm not adding dill in there. I'm adding a bit of different spices. All right, so let's see. Okay, so we're sauteing these mushrooms, and you can see the golden color they're coming. Now, if you need to, if you feel you need to add a bit more oil, by all means, add a little bit more. Let me see how we're doing. We're actually doing really good. And as you're sauteing this, it's wonderful not to use a lot of oil because, you know, it's just healthier. So there we go. And it's not a lot of mushrooms after it gets cooked down, but we'll add it with the cabbage, and it will just mix it up a little bit and make it a wonderful side dish. So every show, I try and feature a cookbook that I think is really wonderful and that would benefit you as well. So I have today Keto for Life, over 100 healthy and delicious ketogenic recipes by Sahil Makija of Headbanger's Kitchen. This is full of great ideas of how to make keto as part of your life. And even if you're not completely keto, you can incorporate some of it. And a lot of what I cook most of the time has some undertones of that, and it's just a good way to approach it. But this is a great cookbook. He has some great videos as well, and check it out. Okay, so for the meat that I'm gonna prepare for this dinner, I have ground beef. I got it from Concord Market, right nearby. And this is Walden Local. So all of this is grain-fed beef, all raised humanely, and it's really a wonderful way to promote that. So what we're gonna do with this is we're gonna take the beef out. I have about a pound, a little over a pound. And then what we're gonna use is 6 cloves of garlic. So I know this seems like a lot of garlic for the pound of beef, but it's really, really important to have lots of garlic. So this is the clove that I used. I opened it up already, and one of the things that I want to show you as a little trick is once you cleaned your clove, if you cut it in half like this, it's going to be easier once you put it in your press. So I'm going to cut each one of them in half. All right, and then we're going to use it in the press. And the other ingredients for the meat that we're gonna use is just salt and pepper. I'm gonna be a little fancy and use the molten smoked salt and combine it with the Curio Aegean salt. I love that. And the other thing is lots of pepper. And this pepper mill I've had for a long time. I know I talked about it before. I love it. I love this old pepper mill. And it's funny how sometimes you'll find a little kitchen utensil that you love and you've used it for years and years. Okay, so here we have the meat. I'm going to go ahead and add the garlic, and I'm gonna use just 1 clove at a time. So actually half a clove at a time to press it. It may seem a little more tedious, but it will go faster if you just do it one at a time as opposed to like stuffing it all over here all at once, which makes it a little bit harder. So you can see a lot of garlic, and here we are, we're almost done. Actually quite a few more. The garlic and the ground beef just make such a great combination. If you have never tried this, I really hope that you will. It's really, really a great combo. My kids love it, my husband loves it. It's a wonderful combination. Okay, here we are, almost. So again, it looks like it's a lot of garlic. It is, but it's what you're going to need. So 6 cloves of garlic to about a pound of ground beef. And then we're gonna add salt. Now, I like to add salt like by adding a little, with your finger like this. So I'm gonna add 1, 2. Now, because I'm adding a little bit of the Curio salt as well. So how much of that am I gonna use? It's again like about 2. You just add, because it adds a, this is not just salt, this has also some other, has lemon and thyme, and it's, so there we go. We're adding that, and now the pepper. So for the pepper, you really want to use quite a bit of pepper, and the more pepper, it binds all of the ingredients together. So as you can see here, I will add to the recipe, especially if you email me, I'll let you know, I'll measure all of the pepper out. But I think it's about a teaspoon of pepper if you're measuring out. If you can have a pepper mill so you can do it fresh, that's really good. But you can always email me. My email is Irena at irenarealtygroup.com, and I love to get all kinds of mail and just hear your thoughts. So, all right, so I have all of this here. Now all I'm gonna do is blend it all together with my hand And the way I do it is just like you would do baking. So you fold it in and then you just get it all mixed in there. It's quite simple. What you want to do is you want to distribute the salt, the pepper, and the garlic throughout it all. Okay. So, and the other trick I wanted you to know is that when you have the beef, don't use it right out of the refrigerator. Have it stand out for half an hour. If you don't feel comfortable, don't do that. But if you do, it's useful for cooking it to have it at somewhat even temperature, so the top isn't going to cook at a different point than the part in the middle. All right. So now it's all mixed up. You see it only takes, I don't know, 30 seconds. And it's easy to do that. All right, let me move this a little bit. And I've got my pan going. And I'm going to use a little bit of oil. Now, what I do like to do is I do like to form these. So they're all, I'm not forming them as I'm putting them in. So I'll put it on a plate, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to make a couple, and basically you're going to take and make them. They're not really meatballs because I'm not trying to make them round like this because it cooks differently. You'd need to bake them. But if you do them in the pan, they're a little bit, this is sort of the size that you want to do. They're like little medallions. So again, you take it in your hand, you shape them up, and there you go. And what you want to do is you want to make sure you can turn them around so they're nice and round, but you want to make sure they're not very thick. It's kind of like little sliders. So I'll make the rest of it, prepare them on a plate, and then I'll get the pan ready. So you want to be able to put them all pretty much around the same time together, because that will make it easier for you when you get them cooked and you turn them over. So I'll show you in a second when I have them ready on the plate. Okay, so before I start cooking the little medallions of beef, I went and checked the oven, and my cabbage is all ready. It's beautiful. You don't want to cook it so it gets too dark. This is just the right amount that I like. And I'm going to set this aside. It's going to be very hot. I am going to mix it with the mushrooms, but let's first start the meat right here. Okay, I'm going to turn it on. And as I mentioned, I shaped it all. I have it all ready to go. I'm putting in some sunflower oil. And I love these cast iron pans. I think they're just awesome for cooking. So if you don't have one, I highly recommend. We're going to let that start and get hot, and then we're going to put them in. They cook fairly quick. So I've got this, and we're going to mix it with the mushrooms. And right now we're just waiting for the oil to start. We'll get it all going. Okay, so I think the oil is really heating up, so I'm going to go ahead and put them in. Yeah, you can hear it. And you don't want to crowd them. That is the big thing that I've mentioned in other shows as well. Okay, so here we are. So even though we have 5 more, they're not going to fit right in the beginning. There we go. And we have that. I have a splatter cover. I highly recommend that if you'd like to. I'm going to keep it open here because I want to see how it's cooking so I can show it to you. And then the other thing I'm going to show you and prep right now is the mixture of cabbage with mushrooms. Is it still hot? Oh, it's actually pretty good. So I'm going to mix it right now in a pot, in a pan right here, and it looks really nice. So the meat is cooking. Potentially I could have put it all in here, but again, it's better not to crowd it, and that will make it a lot better for cooking. So I got the cabbage. I'm moving it all over here. And even the ones that, and it's such a beautiful color. And I do think it's fairly, I'm not going to add a whole lot of other things to it besides the mushrooms, because the flavors are going to be really nice when they meld together. So then I'm adding the mushrooms here and then just mixing it up. And this is going to be a wonderful, wonderful side dish. All right, so that is ready. So keep that one there. And then, all right, so this one in the middle is definitely getting done. All right, so you can see, all right, that one isn't quite ready. And I'm going to turn down the heat a tiny bit. All right, that one isn't. So that's one of the challenges that you always have to figure out, you know, kind of how your pan is working with your stove. So see this one, I put them in around the same time, but it's not quite ready. Let's see what's going on. So this one turned perfect. The other one's not quite. Is it on high? Yes. So yeah, that's one of the things. At home, I don't have an induction oven, and I know everybody has different things. You might be cooking with gas or electric. All right, so this one, you can see it's getting done. It's in the middle. So it looks like I am going to move it over to the side. And I'm going to move some of these other ones over this way. You could potentially add the other 5 right now. So you could add them if you've got the space. So let's see how we're doing with that. So it looks like in the middle cooks the strongest, and I'll add the other ones to the sides. There we go. Okay, how are we doing? So that's looking good. These are looking good. So again, I'm moving them over to the area that's not cooking as strong as they get a bit done. There we go. Yeah, this is getting quite good, and you can see how they generally do it. Okay, so you can see the meat medallions, the ground beef medallions with garlic, they're almost done. I moved most of it. These were the last 5 that I did right at the end, and these are getting ready as well. And these are going to be great. Usually I plate about 2 or 3 per person. Some people may want 4 or 5, but you know, just to start off like 2 or 3. Okay, the other thing I really want to talk to you about right now, it is the start of spring. So a wonderful time to start planting some things in your garden. So I have some seeds here, and I have these beautiful flowers that I picked up at Springbrook Farm in Littleton, and I just love the colors, and I love how it just makes me smile. So, and the other things I picked up were some seeds, and I have this one, which is called an edible flower mix. And I was thinking of all of you since we've had the lettuce that has the edible flowers. So this is an edible flower mix from Hudson Valley Seed. I got this at Tower Hill Farm. And then I have this really nice collection of seeds from the general store in Harvard. And I've got dill. I absolutely have to tell you, you should plant dill. I have some flowers. I have cosmos, larkspur, delphinium. Delphiniums are hard to start from seed, but it's always worthwhile. I have some sunflowers, and I have some nasturtiums. These are edible. Morning Glory, and some basil thigh. And this is my lovely dish that I know I've mentioned in the past before. This is sweetgrass pottery. It's Susan Henke from Newbury, New Hampshire. I absolutely love her work. So this is just some ideas for you to start. It's really a wonderful time. Even if you've never done it before, you can get some pots and put them right at the entrance. Just get some sun and start it out. It's a great activity with kids and grandkids, and just for your own good, it's wonderful to start a little garden. Okay, so we've got the meat ready. We've got our side of the mushroom and cabbage ready. So I'm gonna go ahead and move this over on a serving dish. I love this pottery that I just showed you where I had this season. So this is what it looks like, and it's just wonderful mixed in. You don't need to add any more oil or anything to it. It's ready to go. Now for the salad, we had the mushrooms that we put in with apple cider vinegar and sunflower oil. It was equal parts with a bit of dill, and it's like a marinade. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to just try one. It's really, really good. It's raw. It's really wonderful. I'm going to add the lettuce to it, and I'm going to try and judge what we want to do for the dressing. I don't want to add any more vinegar to it because you're going to have the vinegar inside with the mushrooms. So, all right, some of the edible flowers, I like to keep them at the top because I'm going to mix it all in. All right, so look at this amazing lettuce, really, such a great collection. All right, so let's see, I'm gonna add just a little touch more, and that's a good mixture with the mushrooms. So it makes a really great, great salad. Like I said, I'm just gonna toss it in. Whoops, there we go. Now we've got the flowers tossed in. I still wanna add them at the end. Mix it all up right here. And I think it could use a little more lettuce. All right, and then you have the other half for a different day. The bags are really big, but you do want to use it right away. It's such goodness, you don't want it to go bad in your refrigerator. Okay, so this is, you can see the dressing has really, really mixed around quite a bit. And if you feel that you need a little more liquid to it, I would recommend only adding water. I know that's a little counterintuitive, instead of oil or vinegar, but I would just add a little bit of water. I have this is like a 1/4 cup, but I only want to use maybe half of that right now. So I'm gonna use, so what would be 1/8 of a cup. And you can see it adds a little more liquid to it, but you're not adding any more vinegar. The vinegar is plenty in here from that the mushrooms absorbed, and it had extra. So there you go. You've got the salad there, and you've got your side dish. I'm gonna plate it all, and I'm also gonna show you the dessert, which is a really, really simple fruity dessert. Okay, so we're ready to assemble our dessert. We're really assembling, not quite making a dessert, because it's some fruit, some whipped cream, and a wonderful spice. We're using powdered cardamom and some lemon zest. So the first key is going to be, we're gonna put a blanket of whipped cream on the bottom. You want to do this just about right before you're serving it. So I am going to use, and I've used this in the past, I really love this Cabbage whipped cream. I do want to shake it really well. And I'm going to use, let's see, so I have one here. So this is 1/2 cup. And, all right, so this is a full cup. And now I'm going to use 1/8 of a teaspoon of cardamom. It's not a lot because it's a really strong spice. And we're gonna mix that. And we're gonna use a little bit of lemon zest with my brand new zester here. All right, so, and I have a lemon. I know last episode I talked extensively about citrus season. So you're gonna see one citrus fruit that I didn't have last week, and this is right here. I have these Sumo Mandarins. They are big. They are truly big compared to other mandarins. So you can see this is the the strawberries, and you can see how big they are. So I am going to open these up, and they're super easy to work with. And you could do something nice where you like peel this so it doesn't really show any of that, but I feel like that's wasting the goodness. And then I'm going to just cut just like this on the plate. And look how gorgeous this looks. All right. So I'm gonna leave this last one. Well, it's breaking up a little bit, but that's okay. Now, I want to mix all of this. So right now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mix this, the cardamom and the lemon zest. And I'm gonna move my fruit. What I really want to do is put this on the bottom. And you're just putting it right here. It's like a blanket. And so you wanna do the whole thing here. And when you serve it, you're gonna be getting, and some of this is gonna get on the fruit. So here we go. Moving this right here. All right, so I've got that. And then on the other side, I'm gonna do strawberries. So for anyone who's doing keto, they can't really have these Sumo oranges, not oranges, mandarins, but the strawberries, they can. So I'm gonna cut them and do a little cute right thing. These are, I washed them. There we go. And you can just set all of this up. And you've got a lovely dessert that you've assembled. And it's fresh, and it really adds a little bit more than just plain fruit. So you've done a little bit with that. You can do another setup with whipped cream, so you can have it on the side. But let me finish the strawberry here. Now, this strawberry has a little bit of green stuff right there. I want to cut that. We don't need to eat that. And there you go. So it's, again, very simple to cut and add it like this. All right. So, again, you can do the mixture. Again, it's 1 cup of whipped cream and 1/8 of a teaspoon of cardamom. Mix it all up, and a little bit of lemon zest. I'm gonna have a bit less lemon zest here because the lemon is almost, I just had a tiny lemon. But don't skip the lemon zest, and I hope that if you have it, it really adds that extra touch of flavor and elegance. All right, here we are, and look how awesome that looks. And mix it all up. Be careful with this last portion to try not to mix it too hard. And then you just add little clouds of this right here, right across. I'm adding 3. And there you go. There we have a wonderful dessert that is just a wonderful add-on to this wonderful dinner. Okay, so we're ready to plate, and of course you might want to just serve this, that everybody takes their own, or you might want to plate it. Either way works, but I want to show you a plate either way. So I have the cabbage with the mushrooms, and it's really wonderful. You really don't need anything else. And I have the salad. Right, so you can move the salad right on the plate or on the side in a bowl. Most of the time we actually, whoops, there we go. And I want to get one of these flowers, these edible flowers up here. There we go. This will tuck it in right there. And there you have it. This is a wonderful meal, and I'd love to hear from you if you make any of this. If you're planting any flowers or any herbs or even vegetables. My email, again, is Irena@irenarealtygroup.com. And I hope you enjoy this meal. It's really a wonderful take on a spring menu. I hope you enjoy it. It's wonderful to make a meal. It's wonderful that you joined me, and I love hearing from you. Thank you so much.